Welcome to the Washington Stormwater Center Grant Writing Workshop videos. These workshops were conducted in September 2012 at 4 locations around Washington State. They were funded through a grant from the Washington Department of Ecology and filmed by Leaping Frog Films. The workshops were organized to provide a morning lecture by Eric Schollenberger, a renowned grant writing expert, with follow-up comments and advice from a representative of the Washington Department of Ecology. The afternoon session featured a speaker from a local jurisdiction who provided a permittee's perspective on grant writing. A short writing exercise to construct an abstract description of the project and an executive summary followed. The workshop you are about to view features Cheryl Sonnen. Cheryl is the Regional Stormwater Manager for Asotin County. She will speak on successful grant writing from the perspective of a permittee.
My name is Cheryl Sonnen. I am with Asotin County. I am the Regional Stormwater Program Coordinator. I work for the City of Asotin, the City of Clarkston, and Asotin County, implementing their Phase 2 permit. Previously, I worked for Asotin County Conservation District, and I've been working with grants since 1997. So since that time, my salary has been paid for by grants. So I have been successful. Some of them are grants that are given to us by ecology. We just have to justify what we're doing with them. But more often than not, they have been competitive grants. So I wanted to, share some of the things that I've learned over the years. So the thing that I do when I first start the grant is I just keep the sentence in my mind, this is what I'm going to do with your money. And sometimes that's even how I start off my grant. This is what I'm going to do with your money. So if you bury it, they're not going to try very hard to look for it. It's your job to justify the request. It's not their job to justify to their bosses why you need the money. Make it easier for them. You don't need a lot of text. You don't need to be verbose. And really, they just want to know what you're going to do with the money. They don't care how you feel about it. So be technical, but not, overly terse, I guess would be a good term. Know your audience. Know their goals. City of Clarkston wrote a grant to retrofit bubble ups. They hired an engineering firm to write this grant, and the first draft of it was terrible because they talked about all the engineering, but they didn't talk about any of the water quality benefit. And that is ecology's goal with their grants, is to improve water quality. So that's something really important to remember. Once we rewrote that grant, we redrafted it. It was the #1 grant on the list last year for the Stormwater Retrofit Capital Improvement Grants. So it's really important to know the audience that you're writing to. Don't promise more than you can deliver. The City of Asotin wrote a grant for a 2nd Street project, and they had a grant to resurface 2nd Street from another funding source, but while they were in there, they were going to retrofit the stormwater system because it wasn't functioning correctly. So they were going to replumb all of that into, eliminate an outfall into Asotin Creek, replumb it into a swale, a grassy swale, which was really a good idea. So what they promised, though, was that they were going to eliminate the outfall. They were going to have pre-treatment of stormwater. They were going to infiltrate into the soil, regenerate the soil profile. They were going to reduce temperatures in Asotin Creek, and they were going to reduce pH from this. So 3 out of 5 is not too bad, but Asotin is very low in the Asotin Creek watershed, so they were not going to have an impact on temperature. We don't have a pH problem in Asotin Creek, so we don't know what the pHs are, so you really can't promise that we're going to do that. And as stormwater professionals, we know that there are third parties that are watching everything we do. So if you start promising the moon, they're going to expect the moon. So you have to be careful about the scope of your grant, just don't over-exaggerate things. If you over-exaggerate it, ecology knows that you're lying or when you're lying. And I believe now they take points away from that. So how would you rewrite it so that you would do well in the grant story? I would have emphasized the fact that we were eliminating an outfall into Asotin Creek, which is a salmon-bearing stream, which is on the 303D list, for various things, that we were rerouting that into a grassy swale, so we were infiltrating and getting pre-treatment before water hit Asotin Creek. So I would not have gone beyond, I guess, what we really could do. Yeah, you definitely don't want to hurt your credibility by over-exaggerating. That goes back to some of the other points that were made too about not meeting project goals or reporting requirements and things like that. So know where the points are. Dave and Terry handed out a list, and you really want to make sure that you answer every question that's asked, everything that's referenced in the directions, make sure that you deal with them. I'm not sure if it's still in there. I think there is a reference in there to why is this project important. Asotin Creek does not have a TMDL yet. It's been delayed for several years. So it's harder for me to justify the 50 points or however many points you get for a TMDL, but I want to make sure I get some points. So I identify that this project has been identified in 2 regional planning documents. Stormwater is a priority for the Salmon Recovery Funding Board. It is a priority for the watershed planning process. And then I will go in, Eric made the comment too that, you know, in the federal grants you have to put in, you cannot just say, well, here's the website. So usually what I do is I'll say on this document located at this website, you know, this is the name, page, whatever. Then I copy in where it actually says stormwater is a priority in this area. But that way I have the location so that ecology can verify my claims. Jargon, we've talked about it, don't use it. But one thing that we did, and I don't know if it made it successful or not, for our Clarkson project was that with the bubble up project. So bubble ups are put in an area, usually an intersection, where there's no drainage and ponding occurs. And so they put in this bubble up it's just a catch basin, water goes into it, and it sits there until it bubbles up and goes out to the next place. So it just fixes a temporary problem. So what we did was we said it in an area that causes ponding, like duck ponds. So everybody knows, everybody's seen a duck pond on their street, in their community. So it made a picture, so maybe a little easier to understand, but we didn't abuse it either and say, you know, duck ponds and other, you know, slang in our project. And I was in a workshop quite a few years ago, and they used an example where it was a group that was funding liberal arts projects, and this small Eastern Washington agricultural community wanted to build a civic center. And their justification was that they wanted to bring culture to their community because they couldn't leave to go to Spokane or Seattle because they had to feed the cows. So as the discussion occurred, everyone at the end of the day said, did we fund the cows? You know, so you want to make it memorable without making it silly, without, you know, overdoing some of those things. And we did define bubble up, and then we used it a couple times. We defined it a couple times. We have an attorney, every time I write something, she makes sure that I have spelled out best management practice before I use initials BMP, because you don't know who your audience is. Again, have someone else review your application. It's really important. We had an engineer on our team who, I would put something together, the team reviews it, and this engineer made the comment, well, why don't you have Barb look at it? Barb is the secretary in our office. Why don't you have Barb look at it? Because if Barb can understand it, anybody can understand it. Yeah. So Barb is smart enough to have kept her job for over 20 years. But, you know, we joke about it, and I said, Barb, do you think you can understand this? And we'll laugh, and then she'll read it, and then she'll give me her comments so that we make sure things are understood by a wide audience. So it doesn't hurt to do that. Don't get your feelings hurt. They're not being critical of you. They're not understanding something, or they want more detail or something like that. So again, release the ego. Everyone is trying to help you. Most of the time, you know, stormwater people are going to apply for stormwater grants. There aren't a lot of other places that fund stormwater projects, so most of us know what a BMP is and we know what a retrofit is. So again, using that, I mean, that's in our title, Second Street Retrofit Project, because we are applying for the retrofit grant. So I think in some cases it's okay to use some of that, but on your budget, be realistic. Go through and make sure that you can achieve what you say with the budget. Don't overinflate it. Ecology has guidelines with theirs that only 10% of the entire grant can be used for administration. So they're confident then that they're not going to be paying for a lot of administration, for a lot of staff, that things are actually going to get on the ground. Double check your numbers. That is one of my pet peeves as I'm reviewing grants, is you go through and you look at this column over here doesn't match to this column, and it's probably in there a couple of times for a good reason, to make sure that people have thought it through. You know, that was the message at the Centennial 319 grant workshop is, you know, think through your project. We want to know, we want to feel confident that what we're funding is realistic and can be delivered. And then develop those relationships with your funding sources. You know, calling Dave, calling Terry, but even showing up to their meetings, making sure that, you know, they had a workshop. It was fairly well attended, but if you're there, you become known to them. You know, they start seeing you on a regular basis. When I was with the Conservation District, if the Conservation Commission was in the area, if they were within, you know, 100 miles or 150 miles, we would go to their meeting. They had meetings every other month, and we would go to the meeting so they knew that we weren't there just for money. You know, that we supported all of their goals and that, you know, we were available to help. So developing those relationships is really important. And these guys will defend you. You know, Dave and Terry, they're the first look at projects, then they get shipped to the west side. If those people don't understand what's going on, because there is a big gap between Eastern Washington and Western Washington. They have, in my case, explained to the other reviewer what my project is about. And yes, she's qualified to do this, and yes, she has the experience, and yes, it's a good project. So do develop those relationships. When you're putting together your project team, you need to make sure that you're showing that these people can deliver, again, what you say that you're going to deliver. At the Centennial workshop, somebody made the comment, if a consultant is writing your grant, then, you know, small communities, we just don't have a lot of time to do that. Then that consulting firm should put their name in there as part of the project team. My argument was, I can't commit to an engineering firm or a consulting firm the project. If I get funded, I cannot commit it to them because we have a process, a bidding, you know, consulting process that we have to go through. But we can say a consultant will be hired to deliver these things. So then they're confident again that we have thought it through, that we know what it's going to take to deliver the project, to complete it. And then ask the reviewers in ecology, you can ask for their scores on your projects. Whether you got funded or not, it's really a good idea to do that. You can see where you got scored low and then improve on that at the next time. So I would highly recommend that you contact the agency after the grant cycle.